What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 2 for 2, your sports podcast for the culture, by the voices of the culture. I'm your host, Keith. I'm here as always, my brother Nelly. We are back on the pod today, man. Got another great episode for you, man. Season 5, episode 2. Free agency's getting it popping. Let's talk about it. Nell, my guy, what's going on? I see you repping IUP today.
Always repping those dogs, man.
Smooth.
Good to see you, man.
Hey, man, good to be seen, brother. I stole that from you. I've always wanted to say that. That was dope. How you feeling?
Feeling good. It's
Yeah, man.
been a nice start to the week. A lot of news to talk about.
Yeah, man. Let's do
It's
it, man.
offseason.
I mean, the NBA draft, is come and gone. We talked about that last week on the pod for you guys. Free agency has officially started in this period. As of today, obviously the legal period, as they would say, the legal period. But the free agency hasn't even been really the talk of the league yet. I mean, we haven't really seen any huge dominoes. I mean, we've seen some, we've heard some things about Jaylen Brown and some other players, but the trade front has been really pacing the NBA offseason this far, man. And we're going to start with something fresh, hot off the press. Today, Kawhi Leonard returning to the Six, back to Toronto. Wow. Place where he's won a championship. A place where, we know what happened when he left, and it kind of all crumbled and everything, and they haven't been good since. But now, Kawhi Leonard back. We know what he can do. He's coming off of probably his best season easily in the last few years. Played most of the season, played most all of the season. Very efficient, all NBA guy. Where does this put the Raptors, man, among the East?
I think
They
it puts
moved
them
out
around.
BI, moving Kawhi.
I think it puts them around the same spot. Depending on how the year goes, they might slide down a couple spots. We'll see what else they do with the roster, but I'm not really seeing a championship contender right now. I mean, honestly, this is kind of it feels like a weird move for both sides. But with all the player movement that we're seeing this year, it's really just like it's really going to be an exciting season. Just you just seeing all these star talents moving on to new teams, and you want to see how it all pans out. And then it might for a lot of these teams pan out terribly. I mean, we'll talk about a bunch of moves, but I mean a lot of head scratching moves being made, but just exciting just because of all the player movement. So it'll be interesting to see. But this Raptors team, I don't really see them contending right now with the kind of roster that they have. Obviously, you got Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, Kawhi. It's a solid front line. And, this was a team that was already, I think they were top 5, top 10 in defense last year. You ship out Ingram, who, is more of just a regular season guy, not really somebody that you can trust in the postseason. I mean, we kind of saw that against Cleveland, even though, they did push them to 7. But you bring Kawhi back, a guy that's already won a championship there, coming off his best scoring season. I think his efficiency was the best of his career as well. He averaged 28. So he's still got some juice left. He's played 103 games last couple years, so he's been relatively healthy. So on that front, it seems like a solid move, but I just don't really know. You got to see what else kind of moves that the Raptors make, because they could use some better guard play. You still got Quickly there. He's got to be healthy. Trying to think who. I think is Jakob Poeltl still there? Yeah, so
yeah, he's their 5 for now. They got
so we'll see how the rest of that roster fills out. But I mean, Kawhi and Scotty Barnes, that's a solid duo. I just don't really, with the makeup of the East right now, I'm just not seeing them as true contenders. They'll be a pretty good team. It's the East, and it's wide open. But as of right now, I think they're probably tier 2, tier 3 at best in the East.
Yeah, I mean I think it makes them better, right? Obviously, you said it. Bi is more of a regular season guy, and even still, Bi at his best is not Kawhi, right?
Right.
We can't discredit and discount the fact that the man has won here before. He's done it. Obviously, that team was much better than the team that they have now. A lot more vets. A lot was different. But I mean, you put Kawhi on that team this year instead of Bi in the playoffs. Playoff landscape in the East looks a lot different, right? It's one thing to have a guy, and there's another thing to have a guy that, like, I know what I'm gonna get from Kawhi Leonard. I know every night at worst what I'm gonna get from Kawhi Leonard, right? You couple that with Scotty Barnes coming off of, if he carries on that momentum from the playoffs, and you know how I've spoken about Scotty Barnes and what more I would love to see from him. I think Scotty Barnes playing with Kawhi, learning from Kawhi defensively, that, those two guys together, right? Like in the East, it really gives you a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like it really does give you a chance. Like we seen Indiana come out with a great run from Tyrese, Pascal Siakam, and then role players that just kind of fill in the gaps. Like
They'll be
it
in the thick
really
of
don't take
things.
much. Yeah, I'm not saying
Doesn't.
that they're gonna
They'll
win
be
the
in the thick
East.
of things, but like I said, I think if there's a pecking order, like you said, it's wide open. But if there's a pecking order, I think
Yeah,
they're tier 2 as of right
they're
now.
still behind. They're still behind New York. They're still behind Boston. I mean, as it stands right now, we still got to put them behind Detroit. I mean, they came out. Jalen Duren is technically still on the roster right now. I'd say,
I think they're still behind Cleveland too. I mean, I think it's a
yeah,
lot
Cleveland,
closer,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
And like
But
you said, if
that's what
they
I'm
had
saying. Like they
Kawhi
just took
instead of
Cleveland
Brandon
to
Ingram,
7. That's
like you
what I'm
said,
saying. So it's really it really does change a lot. And I'm curious to see. But like you said, I agree. It's going to depend on who they put around them. Emmanuel quickly, for all intents and purposes, very solid NBA player. He was even a solid starter this past year, but you're going to need more, right? You can't turn the ball over. You can't, be inefficient. You can't miss games. RJ Barrett, has been RJ Barrett since the first day he stepped into the league, right? At what point do we take the next leap, right? He's literally the same player. Good NBA player. Got to become a better shooter. Got to become a better free throw shooter. Got to become a better playmaker, right? And now you're adding Kawhi to the mix. This is not give it to Bi at the wing and see what happens. And he's passing. You now got to play with a guy, right? So you got to adjust. This is an adjustment. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited for him. I mean, hey, we talk about parity, right? And the league is also changing, ever changing. The second apron, just money, has changed how this thing works in contention, right? Everybody's like, I have a chance. And I think Toronto, I mean, can't knock him. You go get that man, he might, depending on how he's feeling. He might just keep you in it. So we'll see on that front, man, from Toronto. But like you said, so many things that's going on, bro. I mean, Jesus Christ. Move out west for a second. LeBron James. Also today, hot off the press. I'm coming back for 26-27. I won't be playing for the Lakers. I mean, something that's been speculated upon, but we always talk about it. Was like, there's no way he leaves LA, right? It's probably LeBron last year. If anything, maybe go to Cleveland, do it one more time. And that might happen, right? There's a list of suitors for him, but the main one that a lot of people are talking about, and what this move has kind of transformed from, Golden State Warriors have gone out there and said, hey, I want LeBron. Now, LeBron has said, or not LeBron said, no, nobody said anything. We ain't heard nothing from any players. We ain't heard nothing from no players. But allegedly, LeBron's camp has said, he only wants to go to Golden State if they can get AD. Wizards come out, they say, we ain't moving him. Whatever. Let's dream. Two of the greatest of our generation, for sure. Two of the greatest ever. Steph and LeBron have a shot to play together. Let's say it happens. Bron goes to Golden State, joins Steph. Can they realistically, that duo, can they compete for a chip at this point in their careers?
I think so. Obviously, health would be a huge factor. I'd still put them behind San Antonio and OKC.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's even at their age, I think that's box office. I find a hard time to believe that, they'll struggle offensively. LeBron still, last year as a, if you want to call him the number 3 option, I'll never say Austin Reeves is ahead of LeBron James on any pecking order, but they wanted him to play as a number 3 option last year and, still came out average 26 and 7, whatever it was. Efficient as he can be, can still draw double teams and find the open guy in the corner. So him and Curry playing off of each other would just be amazing. The IQ on the court between him, LeBron, Draymond, Curry, still got.
And they'd have
Kristaps.
Kristaps.
They brought back Kristaps, so if he can be healthy, that's a huge X factor. A guy can step out, knock down perimeter shots, protect the rim, bring some size. I think they brought back Al Horford too, if I'm not mistaken. I don't
I think
know
he
if
did resign.
they plan to do that if they did that already. So, I mean, I think that roster is still got pods. So they got some guys around there. They drafted your guy, um, Lindenborg. So I think even without AD, I still would really like that team. Whether they decide to move on from Jimmy or not, I think Jimmy could come back. You know, if you got Curry, Jimmy, LeBron, Draymond, Kristaps, like I think that team can compete. It might be wishful thinking. You know, will they be able to keep up? Obviously, like I said, I think I still would have OKC and San Antonio ahead of them just because, you know, youth, athleticism. You know, it's a young man's game, but I think the IQ and the fact that those two stars, Curry and LeBron, can still obviously give you major production, close to all NBA production at their age. I think they would be one of the four best teams in the West,
Yeah, it would be
with or
crazy.
without AD.
It'd be crazy. With AD, they might be. I might give them the edge over one of the young two. I ain't gonna hold you. But I mean, yeah, it's gonna be. It's if it happens, it would be insane. And I do agree. I think they can compete. I mean, that's two of the greatest. Like greatness is a real thing. Like just those two guys stepping on the court together. We've seen it. Team USA. Like
They can barely stop the Curry Draymond dribble handoff. What they gonna
that's
do
what
with
I'm
a
saying.
Curry
The
Braun dribble
Bron, the
handoff?
Bron, the Bron Curry DHO, the Bron setting the screens for Steph coming off Bron off ball screens with Draymond, with Kristaps spacing the floor, and then Yaxel, he's another guy that's like he's a do it all guy too, right? Like you can learn off of that. Like young, let him go run around do all the little athletic stuff. I mean, why not? Yeah, right. Like why not? The
And I
best
said
part
I
about the
couldn't see
NBA.
him. I couldn't see him leaving the Lakers. But you know, I said if I didn't think Golden State would, you know, be able to have the resources to do it. But Draymond obviously helping out, declining his player option. Um, you know, going still in the California area. So if he's going to leave for anybody, I do believe that it's going to happen. Obviously, we know Clutch Sports. Um, you know, Rich
Yeah,
Paul.
they said LeBron told Rich Paul to talk to every team that's interested in him and come back to him with options so he can make a decision. The
I,
Wizards threw
I
their
think
name in a hat recently.
I think they're going to find their way to get him in Golden State. Now,
Bron said he
Washington
wants to have
would
fun.
be
He wants
crazy.
him to have fun this last year. He
Happy
wants it to be
happiness
happiness
is
over
key
money.
this year.
So,
Yeah.
hey, why not go play with your guys? Draymond been waiting
And
on it, right?
he's gonna be without his son.
Yeah, that money
Yeah.
guaranteed today.
Yeah.
$2 million.
He ain't gonna have that
Bronny about to be in the Lakers
he not gonna have that
rotation.
spy on the team no more. He gonna be out here acting crazy.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, Brown in New York. I told y'all
Yeah,
last week.
he said he trying to have fun, son. I got to go.
This will be interesting, bro. I just like it's so many places I can imagine him, and I would be like, that'd be cool to see, right? Golden State would
It's
be
only one place
amazing.
I can see him going.
I'm not. That's
Two.
fine, but I'm.
Cleveland's
Where's
like in the distant, but
yeah. I mean, I could see. Don't sleep on San Antonio. He go play with Wimby. That would be
I don't see
sick.
it. I don't
It
see it.
probably it's probably a 3-team race, bro. Golden State, Cleveland, Miami.
I really see a one team race.
Golden State got to make the money.
I don't think Miami makes any sense.
I mean, it's anywhere he would return to one of the two places he's been. And why wouldn't it make sense? He can go play with Bam and Giannis. They're gonna be standing inside the 3-point line together. Brian gonna be a 3-point shooter.
I don't think that's fun for him.
I mean, it might not be. I don't really think he's like you gotta think relationships at this point. Like
Yeah.
relationships, the legacy.
I think location and matters too. I don't think he's
Yeah,
going
I
back
mean,
East
no.
Coast.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to leave Zurich. You know, she doing her thing now. She in the volleyball stuff, and she out there in Cali. I mean, Golden State, it's a little trip, but it's Brown we talking about. Up and down, up and down. We'll see.
I think it's a foregone conclusion. He's a Golden State Warrior.
All right, we're gonna see, man. Everybody throwing their hat in the ring. It's Bron. Like we always say, bro.
It's like when everybody was throwing their hat in the ring when everyone knew 6 months before the season ended that he was going to be a Laker at the end of the year.
I mean, but that's my point. What I was about to say is leave it to Bron to rule the summer. Every summer he's got to find a way. So this is gonna be a thing for a little minute. and he's gonna make his choice, man. He gonna see where the chips fall, and if it's Golden
We just
State,
need KD to force his way out of Houston. He should have just accepted that trade to Golden State last year, and we wouldn't be worrying about this.
Bron, if we see Bron, KD, Steph on the same team,
Cinema.
no, that'd be insane. Other things happen out west too, though. You know, Bron. We're gonna see where you go. We'll have a Bron watches on, folks. Bron watches on. So I don't as many weeks as this takes, as many weeks as you'll hear us talk about Bron. Probably just gonna let y'all know. But another team out west made a move.
Hopefully, it's more than y'all talk about Love Island.
Good show. It also happens every day. You changed the name of the chat to that. I don't know why. I didn't do it. You don't even watch.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
I don't be knowing what y'all talking about.
We're on air. I'm not going to speak on it. You be watching. All right. I'm about to watch tonight. Good show. Shout out Love Island. LaMelo Ball, former Charlotte Hornet, traded now to the Minnesota Timberwolves to join Anthony Edwards. We talked about that last week too, right? You said it. I mean, Minnesota hasn't done anything at all. And by the fourth out of any minute, and then boom, what was that, like the next day? Maybe a couple hours? How we feeling about the trade, man?
I thought it was a pretty good move. Obviously, the Wolves needed a splash. You know, I came on here and said that they were doing their fans and Anthony Edwards a disservice. So less than 24 hours, they made a big move. And I've been asking, the Wolves to get a dynamic guard for a while. They've, been having Mike Conley, and obviously then they brought in Dante DiVincenzo, but I feel like they just really needed somebody a bit more dynamic at that position. And, it came at the cost of some size. Obviously, Naz Reeves, really productive six man for them. And then obviously you lost Julius Randle with another trade. But other than that, I think this is going to be one of the most exciting backcourts in the league. Like I said, there's so much player movement this year already, this summer already. And whether it works out good or bad, it's really good for the league. It's drawn a lot of excitement, a lot of, games and teams that we're looking forward to seeing this year. Obviously, LaMelo being in Charlotte for so long, not a guy that was on national TV a lot, exposed to that national audience. So, he'll be on there a lot this year, obviously. And, him and Ant, that should be a really fun duo on and off the court. So excited for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see it. Like I said, kind of like Toronto, I think kind of keeps them kind of where they're at in the West. They obviously need to figure out how to get some more size if you're going to beat OKC and
LeBron.
Don't see it happening, but if you're going to beat OKC and San Antonio, obviously you're going to need some size. Rudy Gobert, can't be your only big out there. So love the move though. Definitely a move that needed to be made. They needed some star power, so we'll see where they go from here. But definitely a step in the right direction because they needed a co-star for Ant.
Yeah, Adam Silver's NBA will be very entertaining, if nothing else. You said on and off the court, somebody will be getting paid top dollar to be a PR specialist, working hand in hand with those two. Good luck. But on the court, awesome. I mean, talk about a guy that matches the energy of your superstar. Matches that excitement level, must see TV. I think with those two, there could be some games where you like, right? Like you might watch some Minnesota games and it's just not good. Like if they're both off, it could be nasty. But, when they're hitting or with that, them being off, just as quick, both of them can catch fire. You know what I'm saying? And it's just LaMelo got 5 threes in a minute and a half, and you like, what the heck just happened, right? And hit a couple. Now they talking trash to each other. Now Jaden McDaniels and Rudy getting in. So I can see it being really exciting. I mean, it's hard for me to say a team, makes a move like this and then they're just, I can see them kind of being where they at. I mean, now this team been in the Western Conference Finals now with less. So I think it's gonna be great.
Less. I don't know.
Come
about
on,
less.
man. I think a lot of people are acting like LaMelo Ball is not one of the premier talents in the NBA. That needs to stop.
Yeah, but
you said it. These are on national television.
The roster isn't ready to compete.
It wasn't ready to compete, but they went to the Western Conference Finals multiple times now.
You had Cat and Rudy Gobert. That was a more polished team than this team right now.
LaMelo can't have an All NBA season. He doesn't have All NBA stats.
Like I said, you need size.
They got Rudy.
You need more than one big.
They just drafted a big last year, Joan Behringer.
We're going to have to see if he can play. We don't
He
know that.
played. He played. And what you get from LaMelo, what you get with
I just told you I love the trade,
Ant.
but
No, I know. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't.
I think they got
I'm
a
not
lot better
putting
though.
conference finals expectations or busts
20,
on this
25,
roster.
25 and 7. That's what he averaged this year. Shooting 37% from three. And he played only 28 minutes a game. He played 32 minutes the year before, and they were sorry. So I will obviously things matter. 25 a night, bro. 25, 5 and 7. You give me 20 and 7. You give me 25 and 7 to this roster. That's a different team. Whether you believe it or not. And LaMelo rebound, you talking about size. He's 6'7". He's tall. He rebounds. He mix it up. You just got to get him to not do unserious stuff sometimes.
Are we gonna act like are we gonna act like that stuff ain't gonna matter though?
Him being unserious?
Yes.
I mean, but
the
I think
shots, the defense.
That's just what comes with the territory, though. I feel like
Minnesota.
Minnesota's a team that when you watch them, they have some possessions where it's just dry and full of nothing. Like you had Julius milking the clock into a step back. Like at least this one might go in and it might look cool.
So to get to the conference finals, you were going, unless you were lucky enough to avoid San Antonio and OKC in the second round, you're gonna have to play one of the two.
That's fine. And Ant got him a game with a bum knee and no help. We just said that. A bum knee and no help, and at least all of those games were semi-competitive, and they won one.
I wouldn't say they were all semi-competitive.
Semi for a little bit. But I mean, the man, we got to remember, this is another year for Ant, too. Like, this is another step.
I think we're downplaying the size that they lost. They literally lost two of their bigs that were in rotation last year.
That's fine. And now somebody else got to rebound. The ball will still be out there to be rebounded.
I don't think we can just rely on Melo to be the savior. And after losing both of your power forwards and backup center,
the best part of this is that
all right, this point guard is gonna cover up. All right, and I will.
But that was the glaring need, though. The glaring need was always point guard. It's been the glaring need for 3 years. Now they finally did it.
I've been saying that forever.
You're right. I just think like it got to move them up a tier.
I don't think so.
We'll see. What do you think about the Hornets, though? I think that's my biggest grab. I don't like the move for the Hornets. They also traded Miles Bridges shortly thereafter to Phoenix. So, and they've cleaned house. I've been seeing people on Twitter like remember
when the Bucks traded for Dame? They didn't move up a tier.
A lot of things happened though.
They got a better player, but they didn't move up a tier.
A lot of things happened though. They were very unhealthy. And wasn't Doc still the coach? That's just he let Malik Beasley do that nonsense right in front of his face. He should have fired him then. That's not for today. What do you think about the Hornets? Are the Hornets in a better position now? They moved. People are saying they love the moves because they've cleaned house and they got the new regime, whatever. But that roster sucks.
It's weird. Like I said, when they drafted Khan, I was like, got some adults in the room. They obviously needed a huge culture change there. It just sucks to see because I was a huge fan of this team, especially the second half of the season, the way that they played. They were must-see TV for me. If you're moving, if you're doing this move and you plan on having Con Knipple be, your franchise guy, I think what you saw from him in the play-in is kind of what you're going to get when you thrust him in a role that he's maybe not suited for. And it's not to say that, he can't take a leap or improve, but I think we're talking, if we're being honest, we're talking about a third or fourth best player at best on a championship roster and maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He brings a lot to the game.
He gives me like Mikal Bridges vibes, like when Mikal was with like the Nets. You know what I'm saying? And he was getting you a 20. And like I think he'll get there with this team, but like I feel like they're not gonna be. You got Mikal Bridges on this Knicks roster, that's different. You know what I'm saying? You got Khan growing with the other Hornets.
It's a good roster it's a good weapon to have. His shooting ability, the way he moves without the ball, just his efficiency. So it's a great player to have, but I think when, if you try to tell him to, take you to the promised land, I don't think he can do that. LaMelo, like you rattled off his numbers when we were just talking about him, for all the headaches that he caused. electrifying player on the court. Him
Yeah.
and Bridges, another one. We know about all his off the court issues. Um, he was another productive player for them. I think he was their longest 10-year player there. So you're shipping out two guys that probably were your two best players on that team.
Yeah.
Brandon Miller, still got some potential, young guy. I love his game. So obviously they're going to try building around those two. But like you said, the roster just it's not what you expected, and obviously they didn't buy the hype on the second half that they had. I think they had maybe the fifth or sixth best record from January 1st through the rest of the season in the East. So they didn't believe that hype, and they jumped on a chance to ship out two guys who were great on the court, but at the end of the day, didn't make the playoffs, didn't get them to, any kind of success really, up until the season. It still ended earlier than they would have liked. And, bunch of off the court, issues, immaturity with Melo. So, you look what they got back. They, got some pick swaps, which I don't love because I don't really love the idea of having a pick swap with a team that's going to be better than you for the foreseeable future. Odds are you'll probably end up just keeping your pick because why swap with them? But I think some of the other picks are some of the pick swaps are with other teams. They got two unprotected 2033 picks. So, I mean, that's solid. Obviously, you got Kobe White, for, a solid deal. He's going to give you some solid production. But, again, they lack that star power. We'll see if Brandon Miller's the only guy that I can see can, really take that leap to, maybe be an all NBA caliber player. But I don't think the expectation is, from anybody outside of Charlotte is that that's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
they took a real step backwards. I don't think we'll be, they'll still be threats for the play-in, but I don't think we'll be talking about this team as possible playoff threat the way we would have had they gone into the season with Melo and Bridges and coming off the kind of year that they had last year, pretty much. But they've got a lot of young talent, and pretty much it seems like they're just starting all over.
Yeah.
And we'll see where it goes, but culture was obviously a huge thing for them, and they felt that those two, it was time for those two to go.
Yeah, they took a leap. They did a hard reset to their culture. They might have thrown themselves off the trajectory, right? I think, like you kind of said, like coming off the play-in, a lot of us had them winning that thing, right? We like in spurts, they were
Yeah.
playing some of the best ball in the league at different spurts this season. I mean,
They had like a
it's no
10-game winning
secret.
streak.
Yeah, yeah. It's no secret that Charles Lee, their head coach, and LaMelo, I guess, didn't see eye to eye. Obviously, Miles Bridges has a ton of things off the court, but when he plays, and I mean, he's been good for him. I mean, and I think the Charlotte fans like them, right? From what I noticed, so I think it'll be it's a hard reset, right? And I think it's a step back to do what I think they hope is take a bigger leap, I guess, the following year, right? Maybe they're just like, hey, we'll just settle in. I mean, they drafted Christian Anderson in the first round. That was them getting another point guard, right? They
Still got
signed
Nas Reed,
Kobe
Grayson
White.
Allen.
Yeah, I mean, you got some guys that can hoop, and you got some
Eh,
guys that you hope can kind of like maybe
might be all
maybe you
right.
see something, right? Maybe Nas Reed is really a friend of ours. Called him said that at one point that he was a rising star to the point of being a superstar. So maybe he is a superstar. Maybe we find out that Grayson Allen expanded role look a little bit different, right? Maybe Brandon Miller, like you said. Maybe Khan shows us up, right? Maybe they've seen. I mean, they see him every day,
Maybe.
right? Maybe they've seen something different than maybe what we've seen for his potential. I mean, he is young. Shoot, maybe that 2033 pick, they trying to get all the knipples over there. They got about 4 more, so we'll
Hey,
see.
you
Yep, you
saw
got another one, Brotherhood.
we just got our one.
Cager. Yep, Cager.
Yes,
That's what I'm
sir.
saying. Use a 2020, use a 2033, move down, get
Although
Cager.
I ain't a Duke fan no more after last season.
Nah, that's all right, man. At least your coach didn't just buck on you the day before the NBA draft and then draft a player that you had in limbo to
Nah, because
decide whether or not he should
why
go
is
to the
Caden Boozer
draft.
still on that roster?
4-year guy.
No, I can't do it. I can't look at him for 4 years
That's your
after what he
4-year Duke guy,
did.
bro. That's that's
After
your
what he
4-year
did.
Duke guy.
After what he did, I can't look at him for four
That's your
years.
4-year Duke guy that wins National Player of the Year in year 3. comes back year 4 because y'all gonna give him a crazy NIL bag and y'all gonna go for a ring. I'm
He
just
owes
telling
me
you
a
what's gonna happen.
championship. He owes me a championship.
I'm gonna let you know. Few more things, man. Jaylen Brown and the Pistons are in a weird spot, and oddly enough, right before we got to this part of the show, now report comes out that Detroit has now offered him what they believe is a max, and they said they will be matching any offer sheets. So our question
Damn.
originally, can the Pistons afford to lose Jaylen Brown? I know you were excited when you thought that, they weren't going to give him that money. So at this point, do you still
Make
think
me
they can
sound
afford
like
to
a
lose him?
hater.
We talked about the playoffs was not good, right? It was an awful playoff showing for him, like absolutely pitiful. But All NBA
Yeah.
third team, this is what you get.
I could
So
be in
where
the
we at now?
minority, but I think obviously, reports will do what they can to try to keep him and gonna match any offer. But, I think as long as you have a plan, I think more teams should be willing to, you know, let these kind of players like Duran, uh, maybe not necessarily walk, but, make sure you get them at a good enough price. Austin Reeves had an amazing year for the Lakers. Some people thought he could get a 200, 200 million. I think
Yeah,
185 is I think that's cool. I still don't think the Lakers are, that duo is going to be good enough to compete, but at that price tag, that's fine for 25 a game that, and some of the secondary playmaking that he offers, but I think as long as you have a plan, I think it's okay to let these kind of, players walk. Um when you pay a guy as year 2 and you can't rely on him offensively in the playoffs, that's just going to continuously, lead you to falling short. I think I'd rather stay flexible and, have the cap space and the assets for landing, that co-star before I, start dishing out max extensions and contracts to guys that, have been unproven in the playoff. Obviously, he's still young. Doesn't mean that he can't grow and get better. He's no scrub by any means. I'm not saying he shouldn't get paid, but I think for as long as he's on the Pistons, the question is going to be when are they going to get Cade a co-star, a secondary scoring option, because that's what they're going to need to advance in the playoffs.
yeah,
Obviously, you got Twin that's going to be looking for some money too, and he's a fantastic weapon on the defensive end, but my God, you're playing 4-on-5 in the playoffs with him, and sometimes 3-on-5 with Durant out there the way he's playing. You can't win a championship like that. It's just that's just a fact.
yeah,
Those two guys have to improve offensively and kind of be a threat. We saw they flamed out in the second round, and they were lucky to be there. After being down 3-1 to Orlando. So obviously the improvement starts with getting a co-star and a go-to scoring option for the Pistons next to Cade Cunningham. I think figuring that out is more important than, shoring up Doran and Thompson and, making sure that they get paid max dollars or, whatever kind of money they're looking for. I think it's easier to find a Jaylen Duran than it is a Cade Cunningham, and risking the chance of losing him in the future because you haven't been able to put the correct assets around him.
yeah. It's touchy, man. Because on one hand, like I get what you're saying. I understand what we got from him in the playoffs just wasn't it. But you gotta think, man. 22 years old,
I
coming
get
off a
it.
season, average almost 20 and 11, 19 and a half and 10 and a half. You saying like that's what you can't find that everywhere, right? For all intents and purposes, right? We talked about it. Carl's stats towards the end of that finals wasn't fantastic, but they look like this in the regular season, right? And you see teams move off of that or take that risk, i.e. Minnesota, and then it kills you. It buries you, right? And I think when you're a team like the Pistons that hasn't been as successful recently as you have been in the past, like teams go into a real tough situation when the first time they start to see some success and it doesn't go well, you lose it, right? Like at the end
I
of the
get
day,
that.
nobody expected them to be the first team in the East. They might have. They might say that they might have. They might say they thought they would have, but they didn't. And nobody thought they would be. Nobody expected Jaylen Brown to even play at a level that was close to being, no, I don't want to say that wasn't close, but like, we're not thinking about Jaylen Brown as an all NBA guy at the beginning of the season, right? You know, Cade didn't expect him to go MVP candidate, right? So it's like, damn, we on a high. It's disappointing how you go out, right? And then you look at it and it's like, dang, like a glaring issue was our second guy that we are about to pay was not there. But it's like whole body of work, you know, was his first real shot at it. You know what I'm saying? His first real shot at it. So, I mean, for all it's worth, you got to take the chance on him, right? You got to say, look, man, the good news is we know people want him. And worst comes to worst, we'll have to find a way to offload him if it don't go right. You know what I'm saying? So they can't afford to lose him because you lose him and you don't sign nobody, right? You got all this money, you get the money to a SAR. You say, oh, maybe, at first it was maybe Kawhi. Well, Kawhi's gone, right? Oh, maybe we can go get Braun. Well, Cade and Braun with no Duran kind of seems like a step back.
Jaylen
Or
Brown.
like we said, okay, boom, Jaylen Brown and Cade. But you now talk about size. They just lost Isaiah Stewart. Their center would be Paul Reed if they lose Jalen Duren. That is their starting five. And fantastic flash in the pan playoff series for him. But no. Jaylen Brown sounds good. But then it's a sign-and trade at that point, right? Fine. I'm going to give you him, give us Jaylen Brown and something else. Like, it got to be something else.
That would work for me.
That's fine.
Or find a way
give us Hauser.
Or trade a
Hauser
SAR and find a way to keep Duren and keep Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be good.
That's possible, but they can't just go out and not. It was funny to me that they lowballed him. I mean, hey, take your shot, right? It's business. Take your shot. If he would say yes,
you probably
he took a pay cut. You know what I'm saying?
He probably played the way that contract that they offered him. So I can't blame him.
That might be the case. That might be the case, but that's what we talked about it though. When you give somebody all NBA third team, this is what you're gonna get. Now you got to deal with it.
He earned that money by league standards. You make an All NBA. You were eligible for a max contract extension, and he earned that. But I think he also earned the Pistons, at least for the first offer, lowballing him because the way you performed in the postseason, which is really where you earn your money.
Miami got a shooter, Tim Hardaway Jr.
That's a good one.
He signed the Miami Heat. You knew that was
a good
one. Every shooter that's cheap and want to shoot, you can come play.
I don't know why he would be cheap. He had a hell of a year in Denver last year.
You know who he is, though. You know who he is. So we'll see. But I don't want to say it's the biggest trade. This wasn't the biggest trade, but another huge domino. Moving out west again. I mean, what's happening out in the West? Well, is Memphis still technically considered a Western Conference team?
Yes. Expansion isn't going to happen for a couple years.
Crazy. Ja Morant, man. I mean, the final domino for the Memphis rebuild has tipped over, and they shipped him to Portland. A surprising pick, man. I mean, a lot of people kind of got to the point where we were like, dang, is Ja even going to get moved? If he does, where? Right? It comes after the LaMelo move and all these things. But, hey, you go play in Portland, a team that, just made a playoff. You got Dame. You got a new coach. You got Denny Avdia. Is this a place for Ja to be able to kind of redefine his legacy? I feel like a lot of people have kind of written him off and disrespected him. Like, this guy hasn't done some things in the league that only a few people have done. What do you think?
I think it'll definitely give him a chance. New scenery, small town Portland. It's funny, I just finished watching the Jailblazers documentary. So it's fitting that he ends up there, but they embrace their team. It might be a good culture for him. But this is another one of those head scratching moves that was just kind of like, it's exciting to see how it plays out, but kind of just makes you wonder why it happened at all. Obviously, on Memphis's end, you understand they've been trying to get off of Ja Morant for a while now. The fact that they didn't have to attach any picks to him was honestly amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
Charlotte had
Jeremy Grant
and the brother. His brother plays for Murray's brother
Murray.
Plays for
Kings.
Yeah. So, and then Charlotte had to attach a first round pick to get rid of Bridges. So, um, being able to get off that without having to give up really any additional assets was a win for them. For Portland, it's just kind of, it'll be exciting to see. Just kind of strange right now. Now you have, Drew Holiday, Dame, uh, Scoot Henderson, who's going to be due for an extension soon. And, he had actually, pretty good year
He'll
and
play, yeah.
has some moments in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Still got Shaden Sharp. How many guards are they going to play? Are they going to make heard, rumblings about Jaylen Brown? Are they going to try to make a move for him? Got some solid bigs in there. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, a
Yeah,
backcourt
they
of Ja.
re-signed Williams today.
Yeah,
Robert Williams.
Williams, and you got Klingon, so got some solid rim protection around those guards. Going to need it because got two small guards that aren't known for defense. So, like I said, I'm not really sure what their plan is. Still got Denny there, coming off his fantastic year. So, not really sure what the plan is, but it should be solid on the court. We'll see if Dame can stay healthy. Ja, obviously, you've got to see what he looks like on the court. He's only played 79 games over the last 3 years, so if he can stay healthy, he's got a shot. It's pretty much feels like his last chance to kind of turn it around for his career, and kind of what the narrative has been around him for the last couple of years. So it should be fun to see. But he's gonna have some good vets around him, and Drew and Dame and guys that have been there. Uh, it'll be a little weird with the whole coach thing and the 1 year contract, and pretty
Nicest
much,
owner ever.
yeah, just he pretty much has no authority, and then dealing with somebody like John Morant coming in. Hopefully those guys can get on the same page, and we'll see what happens on the court. But yeah, just new scenery for Ja. We'll see if he can turn it around, because this was a guy that a few years ago was looked at one of the faces of the future of the NBA. So definitely hope that he can get on the court, stay on the court, be healthy, and start balling out again.
Yeah, man. This is Ja's second chance, man. This should be like a little retreat for him. Like, get away, go to Portland. Like you said, small market, out in Oregon, man. Like, you in Oregon, you with Dame, you with Drew, just vibe. You know what I'm saying? Chill. You don't gotta do too much. Your game's gonna be at 10 o'clock at night. Ain't nobody really watching you throw the grenades. You cool. You know what I'm saying? Do your thing. And a lot of guards over there, but I think I think it'll work. I mean, obviously, I think somebody can trade it. Drew Holiday is the easiest NBA player to trade. Everybody's gonna say yes. Contender, yes, give him to me. Like, you can trade Drew Holiday in your sleep. Um, though I think they should keep him. But I think either way, like, Dame is at the point in his career coming off the Achilles. Like, it's time for people to just realize, like, this guy is the second best shooter in the NBA, right? You need to be doing Steph Curry movements all day. All you doing is running off screens, jaw attack downhill, field, trade ball. So I don't think Dame will have to be on the ball a ton. And I think, a guard like Ja can play well with a guard like Dame if Dame is on the ball, right? Like, you can attack downhill. You're gonna have open threes. You're gonna have opportunities. And it's the NBA. I think if I think what we've seen, depth matters. Having as many good basketball players as you possibly can matters. Like, if Scoot and Shaden Sharp are coming off my bench, I am happy. Great. You saw what Dylan Harper just did? Shut up. Get out there and do it. I don't want to hear that. Like, it's opportunity. It's the NBA. My God, there's so many possessions. Like, Mike Nori's going to want him to play fast anyway. You got Dame and Ja. Run the floor. You either get a dunk or Ja gets a trail three. Bigs get a lob. This one got to be hard. It's going to be enough pieces of the pie for everybody to get some. It's Portland. And you got Denny Ivy as well. So, like, just chill. I think Ja's got a real chance, man, to really make good. Kind of quiet out a lot of the haters and quiet out for himself. Just go out there and just hoop, right? It's no pressure on you. Ain't nobody checking Portland like that, right? Like, Portland been a playoff team more often than some of these teams that we talk about every day. You know what I'm saying? And, like, nobody really cares. They just Portland. But you got a chance here to kind of make some things happen. And if it goes well, who knows what happens, right? I mean, Dame's getting older. Drew's older. Like, if you can prove that you're the face of this franchise, you did it. You know what I'm saying? You proved everybody wrong. And so I hope he does. I think he has an opportunity to in the West. I mean, all these teams the West is gonna be a bloodbath. There's gonna be a lot of talent out in the West again. Um, so I'm excited for Ja. I'm excited that he finally got out of Memphis. That marriage was super sour. Last thing, man, we talked about him a little bit in all of these moves because he's kind of the puppet master right now, right? A lot of people kind of talking about him, but another one of those things where none of these players are really saying anything. But Jaylen Brown, his name has been circulating and circulating and circulating. We talked about, with the Giannis deal not going through for Boston, kind of what's left for them. They kind of got to move the guy. I mean, his name's been thrown around to just about everywhere now. Shoot, Minnesota, Detroit, Portland. What we thinking, man? Is that the right move for Boston? Like, is that really what they need to do? Like, are they tripping? Are they not tripping?
I'm not sure why Boston will want to move on from him in the first place. I
Right.
can understand trying to shake things up, making a move for Giannis. That's an all-time great player. But the miscalculation was letting it leak out that he was on the trading block. I think, again, like I said, Giannis is an all-time great. So making that move, if that move happened, I don't think anyone is looking at Boston trying to say, why did you make that move? Strange move. But we know the personality of Jaylen Brown. This is a guy that, from his own mouth has said, he's voiced his frustrations. And I wouldn't say they were necessarily frustrations, but he acknowledged the fact that he doesn't feel the level of appreciation from, the city of Boston and the organization, for what he's done. It's a guy that's finals MVP, won a championship there, done a lot for that team, been a great player most of his career there. Him and Tatum are already proven to be a championship duo. I think that's the part that's coming off a little strange. Like I said, you want to make a move for an all-time great like Giannis, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Especially after the last couple of years, but in a year that was, technically a gap year, you still won over 50 games. This guy was coming off his best year ever, sixth in MVP voting. It's just a strange thing. I understand, how the media feels about him, and NBA execs feel about him, but
Seventh best player on the team.
yeah, and analytics people. This is why this is why I don't really get down with analytics.
That?
Like, I think that guy should be. Like, this is just why, that's just stupid to say to me. A guy that's a Finals MVP that his value is only as the seventh best player on a championship team. Well, just on a team in general. That's why some of these teams just never see a championship in their lifetime. Unfortunately,
There's people like that getting paid a lot of money.
it's a lot. It's a lot of guys out there, running these teams, trying to put teams together, and some of the most valued guys are, being looked at as seventh best player on the team. So it's just kind of puzzling, moving off of Brown after all of this. But, it feels like kind of have no choice after, all the rumors and rumblings. But, we'll see. Like I said, it's a proven championship duo, so I don't understand why you would want to move off of that unless he asks to be moved out. Whether he did or not, we don't know. But I guess that's just another story to track over this summer to see what the Celtics do with him.
Yeah, it's
If
so
they
funny
decide
to
to move him
me,
at all.
the NBA and like their forced ego deaths, man. Like I feel like when you get to a point in the league, and it's a lot to do with a lot of it is social media's doing and social media's fault. When you get a certain level of publicity, for better or for worse, sometimes it seems like it's like the NBA tries to like humble you in a way, right? It's like, why does Jaylen Brown coming off the season that he's had, coming off let's just say the last 3 years he's had. I mean, this is a guy that's never been. I mean, coming out of high school, he was a top 5 guy. Coming out of college, he was a top 5 guy. He gets to the NBA, he proves he's a top 5 guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, what else the man got to do? And I feel like because he's gotten to that
Shut up and
outspoken
dribble.
point,
Shut
right,
up
right.
and
And I feel like
dribble.
because he's gotten to that outspoken point, and he's interacting with his fans and the media and on Twitch and on TikTok. It's like, oh no, 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 we don't like that. Him saying, "This is the most fun I had." Like, it's funny, but like, if I'm an executive, good. Let's have some more fun next year. Welcome. We'll see you in August. Like, we'll be like, I don't care. I don't care. You're not saying nothing to me. I'm not,
Things that just have nothing to do with
right. It
what's
does not
happening on
matter.
the
That man
basketball
is
court.
whatever you trying to assume his intentions behind his words, whatever the case, I mean, now things might have happened behind the scenes that we don't know. I mean, maybe, but like I just don't see it. I can't imagine it. But like that kind of thing, like you take it and then you, how I don't know, man. Like I don't know what else you need to see. I mean, he kept you afloat, right? Like he kept you more than afloat. He gave you a chance. Your coach is a coach of the year because of this man's performance this season, and you're gonna go throw him around in trade talks. It just doesn't make any sense. I'm not sure what the real, if it's like you said, if it's not Giannis, which it's not, what move makes sense that's going to be something that's worth your while, right? Like he's already an NBA champion. He's got championship DNA. He's led a team by himself individually. What gives you the idea that moving off of him, he wouldn't be able to go somewhere and be successful, right? Like that's a move if you like, oh, he gonna go somewhere and flame out, be sorry, bye. Jaylen Brown doesn't even have that makeup. You know what I'm saying? That's just not him. Like he's a perennial all-star, all-NBA player that's led teams before. He's come back from the scrutiny of, oh, he ain't got no left hand. He turned the ball over. He do this, he do that. Came back, Finals MVP. What you want now? Eastern Conference Finals MVP too, by the way, which we talked about. Then I give you another season like this where I took a team that, I mean, we're talking about, can Kawhi carry Toronto? We're talking about LaMelo adding to Minnesota. And we looked at that Boston roster this year and we're like, okay, we'll see what they do next year. And they were what? Number 2 in the East. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy, right? And so to just be like, yeah, we'll move them. That's real ballsy. If you Brad Stevens, you do that,
Like I said,
that can change your
when
career.
when you make moves like that, or suggest making moves like that, you just better have a plan. And
Yeah, you
obviously, the
gotta have a
Giannis
plan.
plan didn't work out, and I don't really know if there's a good backup secondary plan. Like I said, if you just wanted to, try to make a move for Giannis and it didn't work out, but you kept it, within the organization and kept it moving, and nobody heard about this, we wouldn't be having these discussions. But now that the cat's been out the bag, obviously
Yeah.
everyone's going to wonder, how does Jaylen Brown feel about this? Are the Celtics still going to move him? Name being shopped around after having, your best year ever. It's obviously going to, you're obviously going to have some emotions and some feeling towards it. But, like I said, still think Tatum and Brown as a duo can, if they have the right pieces around them, they've proven that they can win a championship. And still, I think in the Eastern Conference, if can shore up that front line, there's no reason why this duo probably can't, at least get back into the Eastern Conference Finals and compete for another championship.
Hey, I hope so. I hope they blow it up. I don't care. Do what you do. Go on with your bad self, Boston. Go on. Do what you gotta do, man. We'll see, man. The NBA free agency has been crazy. So it's only day one. It's only the first couple hours. So by the time this episode comes out, I'm sure something else crazy will have happened, and we'll talk about it someday, right? But man, fun episode, folks. As always, we appreciate you guys, man. It's gonna do it for this episode of 2 for 2, man. It's season 5, episode 2. We talking about free agency. You know where to find us, man, on all platforms at 2 for 2 Pod. Social media, same deal. You know where to find me. But with that, that's gonna do it for this one. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for doing this. Every time y'all listen, we love it. We continue to do this for y'all. Keith and Nell, 2 for 2. We out of here.